I have the clicker. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, I'm Neil. First and foremost, I am a Detroiter, no doubt about it. Right? So those of you who have traveled, maybe been to other cities, you might be asking then, why on earth is he showing a map of Washington, D.C.? First and foremost, I am a Detroiter. Second and foremost, not sure if that makes sense, I am a professional transit map maker. It's true. It's kind of a cool job. And one of the things that I like best about my job is seeing how people engage with this stuff. So if you're in a place like DC, you can go up to a map like this. This is still in concept. Actually, you Detroiters have seen this before most Washingtonians. And I could go on and on and on about what's great about this map. I'll let you figure it out for yourselves, I hope. But I love how people engage with transit maps and transit in cities and all these connections between cities and transportation. And, oh, I guess it wasn't that good after all. You told me what you thought of my map. There it is. So I wasn't always in Detroit. I'm a bit of a boomerang. I'm from here. I'm a Detroiter through and through. But I was in California for a while doing this for a company that does it. And a lot of the conversation I heard about transit in my hometown revolves around this, RTA, Regional Transit Authority. Now, I suspect a lot of people in this room have perhaps heard of this. In fact, quick show of hands, who in this room supports better public transit in and around Detroit? Woo! Well, those hands went up so fast, we just generated enough wind power to power a small country. That was incredible. So, think what you want to think about the RTA, good, bad, indifferent, whatever. That's a whole other conversation, or a whole nother conversation. But when I was hearing this going on, particularly from California, this concerned me, the proportion at which we're having this conversation. We're talking that much about the authority. Who's in charge? Who has the power? Yeah. We all know that story. We're all Detroiters. We're tired of that. So if you tap the average person on the shoulder who's pumping gas at $3.60 a gallon, filling their SUV at, Wayne Road and Cherry Hill, and say, do you support transit? They may or may not tell you no, but they probably don't know what this is. Call your legislator and tell them to support the RTA. Call who and tell them what? Huh? I don't want to pay this much for gas. I want some alternatives. So these are the misconceptions that people have about transit. People generally not in this room. People, the other 4.5 million people who wouldn't clap and cheer when public transit is the topic. These are common misconceptions. It's controversial. It's expensive. It's something I forgot to italicize they, have in other cities. So none of those are negative statements. None of them say, oh, I don't want transit. They just express confusion. And I'm thinking if transit's ever going to get anywhere, we got to focus on that slice that's getting very, very little attention in the current conversation. What's the T stand for? So if we're talking about RTA, what do we need to be talking most about? Thus was born Freshwater Railway. So fun fact about this project, I didn't do any of it in Detroit. I did it all from Santa Barbara, California. But my thinking was, we got to drill down if we want people to really understand what transit is. If people can visualize transit, if people can relate to it. Right now, frankly, in Detroit, they can't. We don't have a culture of using transit. So what we had to do was address this at every single level that people don't understand it. So I started where it matters. I started with the looks. I said, look, anybody can go into a Google map. Anybody can, pencil in some lines and say, oh, those would be some good transit lines. And that's all well and good. But I said, look, branding, this is every bit as much a graphic design project as it is anything else. That font, Brandon Grotesque, it took me a long time to find that. I've since fallen out of love with it. If there's any font typography dorks in the audience, I'm not wild about the low X height, but that's another conversation entirely. So here we go. So we did the graphics part. I'm like, all right, what about the transit part? I almost forgot that. I said, we need to connect familiar dots with new lines if people are ever going to understand what transit is. People have a loose idea, oh, maybe there's going to be a streetcar on Woodward, oh, maybe a train to Ann Arbor. These are very abstract ideas for people. They're good ideas, they're worthwhile things to talk about, but like that map I showed you in DC, where you could trace taking the red line from Bethesda to DuPont Circle, there's nothing similar to that in Detroit. We need to be able to see, what does transit look like? What does transit feel like? These are places that you have at least heard of. And with a tool like this, with a resource like this, you can say, hey, I'm here. I'm in Lincoln Park. I'm going here. I could take the Erie line. So this is all online in great detail. I guess I can go forward, but I can't go back. Maybe that's a good thing. And we didn't just do rail, we did bus. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to be quick. The point is, rail's great, bus is great. Transit is not a conversation about one or the other. Transit is a conversation about both all multimodal transit systems. We need to do a better job understanding that. So while the original project was called Freshwater Railway, it has a very strong bus component. And we also have these Go Town day passes. I actually have them with me. I'm not sure if I could, throw them into the audience, but I got a whole bunch of them. Come see me, I'll give you one. They're free, contrary to the $5 face value. All right, this is my favorite slide. You know why? Because I'm a dweeb. I'm a transit professional. I'm a scheduler. What you're looking at here, all the lines displayed on Freshwater Railway, they don't just have maps, they have schedules. And they're not just numbers, they're working, blocked, run-cut schedules. I'm speaking in jargon, which appeals to nobody but myself, I apologize. But this is the stuff, this is the recipe. This is how you make transit go on the street. So this is important to include, and we've drilled down to this degree of detail at Freshwater Railway. Here's just an inspiration from a city that I think has a lot in common with Detroit, LA. Where 20 years ago, transit was a laughable idea that people couldn't get their head around. They took a comprehensive approach that includes fonts, colors, graphics, schedules, fares, maps, everything. Now they have a great system that's growing. My time is up, but check it out. And we have an event coming up. I know I'm not supposed to plug events, but there it is. Check us out. Thank you. Thanks.